and welcome back to Without a Doubt, the podcast, where we explore the transformative journey of breaking cycles and embracing our truest self. I'm Matt, a cycle breaker, freelancer, and sprinkle of reality. Each week, we dive into conversations that challenge conventional thinking and inspire personal growth. Here, you're going to find practical tips to help you navigate your own path forward towards authenticity. Whether you're looking to overcome limiting beliefs, create meaningful change in your life, or simply live more authentically, you're in the right place. So get ready to break the cycles that are holding you back and start living a life that truly reflects who you are meant to be. Do you ever feel as if you're constantly being sold to? As soon as you get the newest item or the newest edition of something, a newer one comes out, and then instantly you're like, well, I need that version too. I once shared that I have a car that is from 2009 and it runs great, and I have thought about buying a new car, but it runs great and it's reliable. So why do I really need a new car? I also have a water bottle. It's my favorite. It's Hydro Flask. This is not sponsored, by the way, but I am absolutely obsessed with it. I've been using the same water bottle for 5 years. It is dinged up because I drop it all the time. It is loaded up with stickers. It's like my personality on the water bottle, and I love it. I recently did buy Kendra a brand new Hydro Flask because she doesn't have one that was the ounces she wanted. These ones really hold your ice, like literally for over 12 hours. Once again, this is not sponsored, but I bought one for her recently because I know how great mine is, and I've been using mine for 5 years. I don't really need a new Hydro Flask. It is always nice though to get something new, but I love what I have, and I don't even think I would switch because I just love the little personality of my Hydro Flask. I could probably swap out my straw and plastic topper though, because life goes on. Kendra is the cleaning queen, so luckily she takes care of all of that shit and making sure my water bottle is not moldy. Do you ever think about how many water bottles or cups are like in your cabinet and how many of them you actually don't even use? That is overconsumption. We accumulate the stuff we are being sold to, thinking we need the newest water bottle, the newest Stanley cup, even if what we have is actually fine. There's this trend on TikTok recently called junk journaling. Maybe I am actually late to the game, but it is new to me. It's been all over my FYP page, my For You page on TikTok. And it's essentially where you collect stuff and you make a mini scrapbook with your junk. Save paper, ephemera, scraps, and crap like that. But I see so many people buying stuff to junk journal, when in reality, you're supposed to be using junk, including found pages, found objects, found things. Like, yeah, you can use glue and things like that, but the idea is to use like what you have. You're not buying a brand new journal and tape and markers and the scrapbooking papers. Like, that's scrapbooking. Back in January, I actually started a weekly gratitude journal, and I was just updating it with like little notes and doodles from my week. And now it has turned into my weekly gratitude junkish journal. I never realized how much stuff, including food packaging, has cute labels. And honestly, you really can repurpose a lot of the things we use for food. The difference between the scrapbooking and junk journaling is scrapbooking people are making from found pages like newspapers, old books, things like that. Scrapbooking is like buying all new materials and putting it together. I really am for both. Do whatever floats your boat. But scrapbooking can actually be really costly. And not just that, it's really harsh on our environment. It might be a cute hobby, but there's so much stuff out there that is like found materials that you can use to make really cute arts and craft things, including making your own junk journal. I did buy my gratitude journal, by the way, but my gratitude journal was actually bought at the thrift store. So does that count? It was like secondhand. Speaking of thrifting, this is another thing that we do. We overconsume clothing and fashion, and I resell for a living. This is my podcast is my passion project. Reselling clothes and goods is my business. The amount of stuff that I find, it's at the thrift stores, like it's just packed to the brim one. There's so much stuff there, but also so much stuff new with tags. There's also stuff that's really cheaply made brands like the Shein and all the stuff that you're buying off Temu. Those are pumping out copies of items that are fabricated with low quality fabrics, inequality in pay, and work conditions for their employees, which are in these third world countries. How many pairs of jeans do you own? How many pairs of jeans do you need? And how many pairs of jeans do you actually wear? How many pairs of Nikes are sitting in a box in your closet, just waiting for the next rare occasion? I see so much stuff when I buy at the pay per pound thrift store that is brand new with tags, like never even worn. It is the constant shopping and idea that retail therapy makes you feel better. We overconsume for our own mental health. Although there is a scientific evidence and studies around retail therapy, I know for a fact that I feel guilt when I buy something that I don't necessarily need. We are so accustomed to just buying things to feel better. Not just feeling better, we're so accustomed to getting things at convenience, which I will talk about later. We have Amazon. We have things that can show up to your door literally in a few hours. Retail therapy, if you're having a shitty day, you buy something on Amazon and by 8 p.m. it is sitting at your doorstep. Retail therapy will make you feel better. It is proven. There's a study that found that buying things you enjoy can be up to 40 times more effective at giving you a sense of control than actually not shopping. I mean, that makes sense. It can activate neurotransmitters and release dopamine and endorphins, and that will improve your mood. There's a Pennsylvania State University study that found 62% of the participants bought items to treat themselves and improve a bad mood. Like I mentioned before, though, there is also the side where you feel guilty. That is me. And the lasting effects of happiness with that item get trashed before you even know it, because usually the next best thing is being put out there. Innovation is so real. Innovation is happening in seconds that your newest iPhone, your newest technology, we're moving to the newest, greatest things every month. Overconsumption by humans is leading to a huge range of issues, though, environmental, social, and health-wise. When we're talking about, if you want to start talking about overconsumption, we're accelerating the depletion of natural resources like water, mineral, fossil fuels. If you look up how much water it takes some insane amount of gallons just to make one t-shirt. Gallons and gallons and gallons of water to make one t-shirt. We're burning up minerals and fossil fuels, leading to shortages and literally potential land conflicts over resources. We also have deforestation going on, this demand for labor and the resources like wood, paper. We're knocking down trees at an alarming rate. We're kicking up climate change. We're also ruining habitats. The biodiversity is getting reduced, and we're really affecting so much on this planet Earth. Pollution's even higher. There's more waste because we are making more. There's more waste because we're throwing out more air and water pollution than ever. That's harming our own health. There's some documentaries on Netflix, which I haven't watched yet, but essentially about sewage and things like that and how it's getting in our domain. That's just human waste. What goes in your body and out and is spewing into our fields. But imagine other kinds of chemical waste that is spewing out into our fields, oceans, crops, water. The climate change, we talk about this on all different episodes because we live on this planet as humans, and living an authentic life means caring for what life we are leaving after we are here. There's an excessive use of fossil fuels and other carbon-intensive activities, increasing greenhouse gas emissions, global warming, all these crazy weather events. We're accelerating that. And then we can get into the social issues of overconsumption, the inequality factor, socioeconomic inequalities. Wealthier individuals or nations will consume a disproportionate share of resources. They're going to take more and leave less for others. Let's talk about the Stanley Cup demand. If you had the money to buy multiples and you had the time also, you could go out and buy a few $100s worth of these Stanley Cups so you could resell them for more money. I'm a reseller, so I know people were doing this. The ones who had the money up front and the time to drop a few $100s ended up flipping these for 4 times the amount at that time. The way that these cups were marketed through Stanley, the way the influence on social media took over everything, how much these cups caused a commotion, is a great example in overconsumption. No one needed the Stanley Cup. People wanted the Stanley Cup. Those who had the money and the extra funds for a $40-something cup went out and got it. And those who didn't care that much never touched the pink or red Stanley. They didn't care. And I think I'm finding the Stanleys in the thrift stores already. No one's talking about the Stanley anymore but me. Overconsumption will also lead to economic instability. It often encourages unsustainable economic practices and creates bubbles in markets. The culture of overconsumption can actually erode traditional values and social structures. We start prioritizing material wealth over community and personal well-being. It's the prime idea behind social issues and products. So many kids who couldn't afford the Stanley Cup at school were going to get thrown into the bubble of not being cool enough or not having the latest or the greatest when what they have actually already works. Their other water bottle brand is fine. Their Bobo brand one is great. We also start talking about overconsumption with obesity, health issues, chronic diseases. In a lot of parts of the world, overconsumption of unhealthy foods, here in America especially, is really leading to higher rates of diabetes, heart disease, hypertension. Hello, here in the USA, the land of fat people, we fill our plates and we overeat. We move too little and blame America for our health issues. We are targeted in marketing with fast food commercials and sugary foods everywhere. When I'm at the gym and I'm on the treadmill, the Taco Bell commercial is on the TV and it's flashing and I'm getting fit and I'm drooling over a chalupa. Being sold crap while I'm also trying to harness my own physical well-being. Also, the $7 Taco Bell box really has been taunting me and the commercials are following me and I want Taco Bell real bad. Mental health and overconsumption, like pressure to consume more and more, the constant bombardment with advertisements when we're just scrolling on our phone. If you're on Instagram, social media, TikTok, the ads are sprinkled in between. On TV, it's your commercials. Hello, we have anxiety. We get all these diminished ideas in sense of less of who we are because we're not adequate because we didn't have what the latest and greatest is. We're not great enough because we don't have the Stanley Cup. Overconsumption oftentimes is also going to lead to a lot of food waste, which not only has environmental impacts because we're taking more, we're cutting back more, but it's also leading to food insecurity for those who lack access to even adequate nutrition. Can I take a second here? I cater on the side. I serve hors d'oeuvres to rich bitches, and the amount of food they take and never touch amazes me. There are starving kids and people all over the planet, but we are tossing food in the trash because we took too much at the buffet. Because we just had to have 6 pieces of steak. Like, we buy too much food at the grocery store because we're too lazy to make a stop in the week. We let food go to waste because we're too busy to eat it. We're too busy getting more takeout, making more food, and not eating what we actually already have. Pay attention to the food you waste, and I guarantee you won't even realize how much you trash. Sometimes the trick is literally not buying so much at once and actually going to the grocery store when you do need something and buying what you do need. I feel like that's like the European way. Like, they go to the market every day and they buy fresh ingredients. Here in America, we need to focus on that. Everything for us is in a can, in a box. Most people are shopping the inside part of the grocery store versus the healthier outside. And honestly, a lot of our vegetables and fruits and meats are loaded with hormones and crap and pesticides and fertilizers. And how do we even know what's going in our food these days? It's really stressful. I get back to what people are trashing. Most of the meal portions are just double the size here in America. Like, every time we get things, you get so much. Here's a tip. Share your meal. No one needs to eat a whole entire meal anywhere you go. Anywhere you go out to eat, just share the meal. No one needs to eat a whole entire meal. Like, that is overconsumption also. We are contributing to overconsumption in a lot of ways. It's driven by social, economic, and cultural factors. When we start getting into consumer culture, we're talking about the advertising and the marketing that I was telling you, like, it's everywhere. The desire to buy a new product, everything coming up in TikTok shop, like, it leads people to purchase beyond their needs. We talked about this, right? Me getting a new car, like, do I need one? No, I have a reliable car. My iPhone works great. Maybe it's not the latest model. My water bottle might be dinged up, but it still holds water. There's shit that you don't need. You just want it because it looks prettier. Because people are selling stuff to you. Don't get lost in the sauce, honey, okay? Many products are also designed to become outdated or break faster. A lot of things are not made as well as they used to be. First thing I was thinking about is TVs. Like, If you have a TV, maybe you've gone through a few, I feel like they burn out very fast, and we go to Sam's Club, you can get a huge TV for a few $100s. $500, you can get like a 45-inch TV. I feel like that is, I don't want to say cheap, but for a TV that's that big, that is an electronic, I feel that is pretty low. TVs are replaceable, and they're also horrible for our landfills. Also, like Tesla cars and the batteries that are going in these electronic cars. Have we tested out and seen how these are going to decompose on our planet? Are we buying the newest electric car, but we don't realize what's going to happen in 10 years or 5 years when you get a new car and that electric car battery is dead? Where does it go? It goes to the battery graveyard. I was also thinking about this with cars, right? Not just Teslas, but when I was growing up, my very first car was a Ford Thunderbird, a 1996 Ford Thunderbird, and that car was solid, like made of metal. The entire body of the car was like a metal car. I have a Honda now. It is plastic. Like, maybe that's not what it is, but it's made a lot different than my 2009 Honda is made a whole lot different than my 1996 Ford Thunderbird was made. My American-made car was made hardier and heftier, where my Japanese Honda is made a little more toy car-y and plasticky. I love my Honda, by the way. She is great. But this is what I'm talking about. Things are not made to last. 10 years later, cars are still built different. We're moving 20 years later. Cars are not lasting. I see newer model cars on the road and their paint jobs are in worse condition than mine because we're not using the quality things we used to. And economic factors, we're also talking about access to credit. This is allowing people to buy more than they could ever afford, leading to more consumption and financial strain. Mental well-being will be fucked if you are constantly living in stress about debt. I live in South Florida, and I see this a lot. People drive very nice cars. All of the fancy top-of-the-line cars, but they don't even own a home. My neighbor rents her property. How do I know? Because I was on the HOA board, but she rents, and she has a brand new Beamer. I don't know if she leased it. I don't know what her payments look like. I don't know her situation. I don't know. I'm not judging. I'm just saying my value is let me own a piece of property and invest that way versus something that is a car. It's all for show. A lot of people are loaded with fillers and Botox, and it's for the aesthetic. Even if they don't have the money, they will go and swipe their credit card for that aesthetic to look better. Because if you look better, you're going to feel better, right? We're moving into social factors. The tendency to compare ourselves with others it's normal. We're fueled by social media. It's driving people to buy more and keep up. I keep talking about all of the Instagram ads and TikTok shop. The standards and everything of like what is actually truly happy when people are scrolling. Yeah, retail therapy can make you feel better, and it can be, but it's got to be a purchase that you've been wanting to make. I heard once on a budgeting podcast that if you want to buy something, you should put it on a list and hang back for about 90 days before the purchase. And then in 90 days, check back to see if you still want that item. If it was something that you didn't want for just impulse. I can't remember the podcast, but the person mentions talking about this list. You can even add little physical pictures to it if you're more technological. And this flipped my brain. This made me realize how often I really didn't want anything rather than just a quick pickup for impulse. We have a lot of peer pressure as well. Most of the times, if your friend is buying something at a store, you will also buy something at that store. If your friend isn't buying something, you're more likely to put something back because you don't want to wait in the line. It's just one of those things. We buy things not just to fit in, but we consume more because other people are also consuming more. When you see people that are buying things, you want to buy it. Have you ever clicked on a website? I did this recently. I bought a new little mini printer for my junk journaling. Yes, I did buy something, but I had a coupon. It was only $40. But at the top of the webpage, it said 26 people have this in their cart. And it automatically made me feel like I have to buy this right now. Like, what if they run out? It's an urgency thing. It's insane. You have that entire peer pressure from the internet. The pressure to buy based off of other people shopping for this, and it's also in their cart. You know, I guess another thing for me is these Amazon hauls, the brand name clothing hauls. Like, do you need 6 pairs of sneakers that are all different colors? No. Can we just get 1 pair of sneakers for this and 1 pair of sneakers that does something else? Different functionality is fine. But why do we need everything in different colors? We don't. The pressure is not just at the store, but it's also in your feed, and it's what you're scrolling, and it's what's on your phone. And then finally, we're moving into convenience, right? A lot of times we're going to just start buying things and using higher consumption of single-use products and fast food. Why? Because convenience makes our life easier. It's not environmentally friendly. You probably know that. You probably have a little bit of guilt when you do it. But we do it with fast food. We do it with Amazon. Think Temu. Think Shein. We're putting our money into quantity, getting more of things versus how much it costs, because we like cheap, fast, and easy, the American way. Sometimes the long route, the non-life hack route, the right way takes longer, and it's not going to be any more simple, but I promise you it's worth it at the end. Quality does last longer. Buying the nicer quilt will last longer. Buying the better shoes will last longer. My grandma, I used to ask her all the time to take me to Payless, and she just couldn't understand it. My mom shopped at Payless. That's what she could afford when we needed new shoes. But my grandma had this idea that quality is always better. So she would take me to get quality shoes, brand names, Nike, Reebok, whatever. And they sure as hell did last a lot longer than my Payless sneakers. So I'm telling you, the more expensive, or not necessarily always the more expensive, but quality will outlast. And that's really the goal. Overconsumption doesn't necessarily mean spending less money. It means having less of everything. We do not need 5 million. We do not even need 10 pairs of sneakers, but we all probably have 10 pairs of shoes. We live on that convenience idea with Amazon, and like I said, everything's showing up to your door. Like, I even have a cousin that ships lobsters, like straight to your door in a box. It's something we pay for one way or the other. And then we're moving into cultural factors. This is like societies start emphasizing consumerism. Often we start valuing material wealth and those possessions like as indicators of success and identity. Like I said earlier, owning a piece of property rather than owning a car. That to me is more value than a car ownership, but that's my thing. Maybe for you, owning a nicer car is more value for you. We end up driving higher levels of consumption, getting the newest Tesla, watching the Cybertruck drivers. It's kind of funny. You know, does everyone think they're really cool? Those Cybertruck drivers really think they're so cool. And they're just driving around, but I think they just look stupid as fuck. And what are you showing off? How much money you have that you could buy that car? What are you exactly doing with the Cybertruck? Then we're going into special occasions about overconsumption. Oh Lord, this is one of my ding ding ding, my flags, right? Excessive buying of gifts, decorations, other things. Like, people buy brand new gifts. People are buying brand new decorations every year for every holiday. Why? Why can't we use the same decorations every year? Why do we have to gift every single person only at Christmas or holiday or Hanukkah time? I have opted out. This is just me in the last few years, and I really hate holiday shopping. I feel the pressure to buy someone a gift, and makes me cringe. It's essentially cash swapping. Like, hey, here's a $25 gift for another $25 gift that I didn't want to buy myself, but I'll buy you something so you could buy me something. Like, I would rather you just buy me something on a cold day in February when you think of me passing at the store. Like, you see a magnet, you see a sticker, you want to get it to me. Like, that is more thoughtful in my opinion. The in-between holiday gifts, not just the holiday gift because it's the season of giving. The season of giving is 365 days a year, not just around December. Stop buying shit because it is holiday time. And then we're moving into trends and fads. Like, hello, these rapid cycles of trends, they just be flipping through so fast. How to stay in style. Shein, those crappy brands, all of those things, the Stanley Cup, we can leave that here. Why don't you just rock what you want to rock, wear what you want to wear, and stop worrying about what's fucking in style. Wear what looks good on you, okay? Wear what makes you fucking feel good. I think one of my biggest thing is we have this over-reliance on energy-intensive appliances and vehicles, and these are the things that are truly contributing to higher consumption and energy resources. Like, the more technology, the more we are burning the planet away. Do your part. Turn your lights off. Stop buying the newest iPhone and the newest computers. Stop running your water. Overconsumption is like another thing. I talked about this with fast food and convenience, but we're really big wasters in food. Why are we wasting so much? I talked about a lot of... No. We can really amp up and help with overconsumption because I think sometimes we start buying because things look pretty. the aesthetic of things versus reusing a jar and making something at home? What about the idea that fruit or veggie isn't perfect, so we can't sell those? Bruised fruits and veggies are trash. We have to have the nicest looking things, even in our food, in the boxed food. When we're looking at things, we need to be more focused on ingredients and sugar, not what things are so pretty, like the value that food has. We overconsume because we want to try the brand new Reese's. We want to try the brand new, I don't even know, the latest and greatest from this brand. You want to try the new energy drink. You want to try the new pre-workout. And that leads me into a lack of emphasis on really recycling and waste reduction because, hello, we're tossing so much into the landfills. We're contributing to environmental degradation. How many iPhones have you gone through? How many books have you purchased? You could have just rented them from the library. How much do you throw away? How many times have you bought one shirt and never worn it again? Your trash has to go somewhere though. However, once you start trashing all these things and the latest thing great and the last thing you had isn't as great anymore, your trash is going to end up somewhere. And whether you see it or not, the trash will always be our problem. It remains on this earth. So overconsumption of things still lands on our plate. A lot of people are not even realizing the mineral and chemical aspect of overconsumption. iPhones, batteries for Teslas, all these things that I keep talking about are made with cobalt. Not just that, but we need to wake up because these children and people that are mining for cobalt are in these harmful environments, toxic for their breathing, for their respiratory systems. And these are children doing this. And men and humans in countries that are forced to mine by gangs and military for your newest iPhone. Because the iPhone you have now works great, you just want the newest one. So much of what we have is unethically produced. I know you've probably seen that movie Blood Diamond. If you haven't, just go Google it. Next time you get a new phone, a new computer, the new tech product, think about those commercials where the African kids need food and money. Those are the ones that are mining your things. Those are the people that are dying so you can have fancy shit that you don't even give a fuck about and you throw in the landfill. I think a lot of times as demand for products and global supply chains can actually increase the environmental footprint we're doing because the transportation. We are having things made in China all over the globe when we could do it here in your country. But it costs more money to have someone do it here. So you want to fuck up your carbon print. You want to add more. You want to waste more gas. You want to add more pollution by transporting things back and forth across the ocean. One of those things I actually started thinking about overconsumption, and this is, I'm not hating on Taylor Swift or anything, but when you have a lot of money, you can do a lot of things. We were talking about that before with economic factors. Taylor Swift is one of those people who can afford a jet ride anywhere she wants. Last year, when she started dating Travis Kelce, she traveled so many times to so many games in between all of her concerts. If you Google and see how much Taylor Swift ruined the planet with her carbon emissions from her jet and how much she puts on the planet as just one person, one human being going to watch her boyfriend play football, maybe you'll be a little enraged and maybe you'll drop a few brownie points on your love for Taylor Swift. The environment. She is over consuming on the world's resources as one person. We waste so much. And to think about that, she is one person. Overconsumption honestly starts with rethinking and changing our own patterns, adopting more sustainable practices, prioritizing quality over quantity, and starting to promote a culture of mindfulness and responsibility in consumption. We have to do better. It starts with us. Not needing the newest of new, we have to have the ability to help the planet, but we also have to free ourselves from the consumerism idea that the newest and greatest and latest does not equate to wealth. It doesn't. We have to free our minds. I've been reading again, and I started reading a book called Out of the Easy. And there's a part of the book where some New Orleans quarter folk go to the rich people's party. And when they leave, they start talking about how rich people are soul broke. They have pianos, but they don't even know how to play them. They have loads of family photos, but they actually hate their family. They have fancy cars, but they don't even drive them. They have people to drive them around in them. It's all for looks. It's all for show. But it's not for their soul because they are soul broke. And I think that's the best way to describe the walking consumer. The Amazon impulse shopper. The soul wants more, but all you got right now is the ability to buy. I wanted to make this episode maybe with a little influence to de-influence you. Make you stop and think the next time you are about to buy a brand new water bottle. What's wrong with the one you have? Did you lose it? Is it broken? I want you to pay attention to the commercials that are coming across your feed, the billboards, the advertisements when you scroll. Are you being targeted? I've been talking about this LL Bean tote bag that my mom has that I really want. And all of a sudden, I am getting the exact color of the tote bag that I want scrolling up in my ads. We are always being sold to. We are constantly being dropped little crumbs and little nuggets of product perks. What we are not being reminded of is that what we have already works. Getting the Tesla is not going to make you cooler. Having the newest iPhone, no one cares, no one knows, no one even knows what fucking number we're on anymore. They all look the same anyway. Stop getting pulled into the new products. If you're feeling soul broke and you're looking for material things and happiness, I ask you to dig a little deeper. I ask you to tap in. Happiness will not build on the foundation of materialistic things, but rather the idea that who you are is already the magic. And honestly, I'd rather hear a cool story about how you hiked to the top of Mount Everest, or the time you tripped on shrooms at that music festival, or the one time a homeless person tried to give you a hug because you said you would get her a puppy, versus talking about what you have. Share something others can take with them versus living in what I can show you to make me cooler. Memories make better stories than material things, period. Go out, look at the clouds today, and try to spend as little money as possible. I promise what you have is already enough. You are without a doubt a badass. Don't you forget it. I will see you next Wednesday. XOXO, your girl, Mad. Bye.